important either way. It's been quite a while since my first tier list video. A lot has changed. My opinion has changed. The meta has changed. Everything has changed. Which is to be expected. When I first uploaded that video, we were not even 2 weeks into the game's lifespan, I don't believe. So I'm just here today, and I'll give you the basic rundown of where the meta is at right now, what characters are good, what characters are bad, and for what exact reasons those are. One thing that has not changed is that there's only one D tier character, and that's Mudita. Mudita is the joke character. He's meant to be the joke character. His water wheel is so extremely thin, it will barely hit anybody. His surface slash is worse than Mokomo's. It doesn't work for any sort of combo, really. There's so many other better options, and that's to be expected. Mudita is the joke character. His guard skill can come in handy, sort of. If you pair him with Giyu and you neutral summon Giyu in order to kind of waste all that time while they're hitting you, you can almost get Giyu back for pretty much free, but that's kind of his only advantage. He's just kind of like a runaway and use assist character, and that strategy does not work that much, especially with the added projectile characters that will stump that out immediately. Number 2, or the second worst, I guess. I'm just gonna go from worst to the best. Hinokami Tanjiro. Hinokami Tanjiro has fallen a lot since my last video, and that's because he had a few good things going for him, and every good thing going for him, he's pretty much lost. That quote-unquote crazy damage output, we found, similar damage outputs through most of the characters. A lot of the characters can do decent damage if you do it right. His mix-up where you could break a shield, most characters can counter that. Mokomo can counter that. Giyu can counter that. Name a character in the game, they can probably counter it. Shinobu, Sabito, Urokodaki, Zenitsu. Almost every character can prevent that guard break from happening, and there's no reason they won't. On top of that, he has the second lowest amount of health in the game, second only to Akaza. Oh, it scrolled down on me. Speaking of Akaza, here's our next worst. There was a lot of high hopes when demons were coming out, and Akaza seemed like he was really cool, but he's the worst of the demons. He's just objectively worse than any other option you have out there. He's slow to begin with. He doesn't have good projectiles. He needs to get down on you, and in order to get any amount of decent damage, he needs to use a lot of his resources, including his two quote-unquote assist bars, in order to get even mildly the same amount of damage as even Hinokami Tanjiro, and as we get up there, as much damage as Rengoku, Nezuko, Zenitsu. He just can't output the damage, and if he can, he's basically losing out. I fight Akazas online all the time. I let them combo me. I let them get their full damage combo, because I know that by the time their full damage combo is done, I can put them in my combo for free, and mine does more damage. And I'm playing Mokomo. She doesn't even do the most damage in this game. Imagine if I'm playing Nezuko or Zenitsu, where they have some of the best damage outputs in the game. It's not scary to fight Akaza at all, even if he does land a hit on you. And that's why Akaza is going to be the next worst there. My main Mokomo, she's going to be the next worst, but she's going to be in B tier now. Mokomo has a few things that puts her onto the next tier above Akaza and Hinokami Tanjiro. She has a really good defense game. She can play keep away as on par with some of the demons without having a projectile. Approaching her is really scary. She can counter approach with water wheel. She can counter approach with guard skill. If you're trying to attack her guard, she can push block into guard skill. And because we're not dealing with a demon here, even if you miss some of those critical moves, like, if you miss guard skill, it doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, because, oh, I'm just gonna hold buffer on my anchor character, and now I get out for free. And that's a lot of disadvantage that some of the demons up towards the next few you'll see. And next up, since we're talking about demons, is Susamaru. Susamaru is one of the 2 most recent demons, and she does an okay job, all things considered. She has a few issues, that being, she can't get the same damage as the other demons can. She just can't, and if she can, it's really hard and difficult, and still doesn't do that much. Her max combos do 40%. A lot of people's minimum combos do 40%. When the Susamaru Yahaba pack dropped, it really seemed like Susamaru would take it at least over Yahaba, but Yahaba just has crazy setups that can get you into a ton of damage really quick, even at the cost of some resources, which works really well in Yahaba's case instead of Akaza's. But Susamaru just has a bunch of Tamaris that don't have really good tracking. The only thing Susamaru really has going for her is her tilt assist skill, which kind of pushes her back and then throws an attack. But that's mainly to get you out of trouble. If you need to get out of trouble, you got more problems than just them in general, than just Susamaru, you know? And on to our next character will be Urokodaki. I like Urokodaki. I feel like his playstyle is really unique. I like the whole idea of setting a trap on the field and hoping that your opponent, or maybe even baiting your opponent into walking into it, works. The reality of the situation is, it just doesn't happen. Almost everybody can counter it to a certain extent. Everybody's special moves will break it, which means when Mokomo's biggest approach option is Water Wheel, doesn't matter. Shinobu can approach from the air and it won't even affect her until she's already used a special move. I mean, everybody can break it. Zenitsu is a big hit because Zenitsu can just do Thunderclap and Flash, and then boom, it's gone. Half the roster knows Water Wheel, so that's not really a good example for him. You'll notice that if we go to our matchup chart here that I have, that Urokodaki kind of loses a lot of the matchups, especially against characters that have Water Wheels. He only starts winning around the projectile character area, and the reason he wins those is because he has the trap, and the trap will actually nullify important projectiles. It'll nullify some of Yahaba's bigger, more hurting projectiles, which could affect him if his traps aren't there. And that's kind of his use case. He's a really defensive character, and you need to know how to play him really well. If you match him up with Giyu, his traps mixed with Dead Calm can be really devastating, but that's the best you're gonna do in terms of that. And next up we have Yahaba. Yahaba has a unique system where half of his moves don't even do damage. Any move that uses a red arrow will not do damage. That's his neutral, his guard, really a lot of things. So, what it comes down to is how good are his skills. And his skills are really good. They all link into each other, they're all pretty free flow, and if you catch your opponent in one of your arrows, you can easily do half damage. Almost no problem. If you have full resources. And if you don't, you can still get an easy 25. And because all of his moves are projectiles, you don't need to be that committal in order to get that sort of damage, which keeps him really high up. Some of his weaknesses are, yes, half of his moves don't do damage, and yes, you can, once you're in on him, he can do a whole lot. And he has that same sort of suffering weakness as Akaza, where, like, if you want big damage, you're gonna waste all of your resources. And that's why he's not getting it up to A tier or S tier. I'm gonna give you a little spoiler warning right now. I don't think a single demon is S tier specifically because they can't switch to an anchor character if they picked an unsafe option, which is an advantage that every Slayer has. If you mess up, just buffer a good anchor character. It's a super easy thing to do, and it's not even on the table for demons to be S tier until they can do something at least similar to that. Next up we have Sabito. Now Sabito has a unique strength, which is getting a lot of damage off of a little bit of meter. A lot of characters can get you like 50, 60% combos if they use their full meter. Sabito kind of specializes in getting that like 30, 35% off of like 2 things of meter, whereas you're not really getting rewarded for really using more than 2 or 3 bars of meter in his combos, which makes him a more neutral-based character, which neutral is half, if not more, of Demon Slayer. So being able to kind of weave in and out of those sorts of things are super good. He has the same reversal as water. Hello, sorry, this is Evan from the future to tell you that I messed up and part of the video file got corrupted. It ended up skipping over Inosuke and Rengoku. Inosuke was put there because he's kind of the biggest, like, meh character. He can do a lot of damage, but at the same time, he doesn't get a lot off of anything that he does in particular, and his defense is exceptionally weak. Rengoku, well, he does have that he does still have that typical combo that he did at the start. That's kind of all he has. And as people start to find their way to work around it, and demons come out that explicitly counter him, he gets worse and worse. And that's why those are where they are. With that being said, I'll let you get back to your video so that you can finish. Okay, next up we have Shinobu. Shinobu's interesting. She has a unique playstyle because it focuses on her ability to move laterally, up and down. This will actually cause her to win matchups like the Giyu matchup, where because most of the time she's in the air, if Giyu tries to dead comp her, it doesn't put her in a combo, it just lands her straight to the ground. And it does not help at all. So, not a lot that Giyu can do against her. Shinobu wins that matchup. Shinobu wins the Urokodaki matchup for a similar reason, but just her verticality makes it hard for things to hit her. Projectiles can't hit her nearly as easily. And that poison mechanic does put pressure on if you want to switch to an anchor character to remove that poison and use up an assist, or if you just want to suck up the poison and take that extra damage because you want to play it safe. She causes a lot of pressure in just how many ways she can approach you from the air with a skill, jumping in, full-on rushing into you, grabbing, attacking normally. She's a pressure monster, essentially, and that's going to place her purely at A tier alone. Let's talk about Giyu. Giyu's an interesting case. Giyu's a good character. He's a little broken and not in a good way. If we look at Giyu's matchup chart, he wins a decent amount, but he has some of the worst matchups. He loses against Shinobu, he loses against Rui, he loses against Yahaba. This is because his dead com does not work against projectiles, and his dead com just does not work on Shinobu. And that hurts him a lot. That being said, he still wins a lot of these matchups, and dead com is a really good asset to have. I can see them easily patching up it working against projectiles or it working against Shinobu, and Giyu easily climbing to like bottom of S tier, very top of A tier. But his iffy amount of dead com work is purely just gonna keep him in A tier. At the top of A tier, I have Rui. Rui came extremely close to being S tier, but that anchor switch is really what's gonna hurt him, because he can't do it. Rui has extremely good combos, and one of the most popular ones I've found is on my Twitter if you want to check it out. You can just do a whole bunch of web tosses. His pressure against shield is insane because of that reach. He has extremely good grab resets. You can easily combo into his ultimate from halfway across the stage, be completely fine. He doesn't rely on his assist skills like the other demons do, and he still performs good if not you use them. Just an extremely solid character and the definition of what a good demon looks like. He's sacrificed a few things because he's not a slayer, but they gave him enough compensation in the other ways to make him a solid, fun character to play. At the bottom of S tier, we have Water Tanjiro. Water Tanjiro used to be at the bottom of the tier list on my last one. That's because the meta wasn't developed, which is extremely strange because his meta is extremely easy. It consists of similar to Rengoku, but better. And his attacks are just above, or leagues above. He can start with a water wheel. He can start with a regular attack. If you play Water Tanjiro smart, you can beat most players in this game. It is insane. The options that they've given Water Tanjiro to deal with and the amount of practice that you can get in with him. He's just a really solid character, but he's a really solid character done right, which can put him at the bottom of S tier for me, personally. Next up is Nezuko. Nezuko does an insane amount of damage. She can get about 50% with only 3 uses of Skill Guard, which is insane. She's really good at neutral, and even if you don't use her as your point character, her anchors are really good. Her tilt summon and her neutral summon both have really good use cases and are extremely strong assets to any team. I personally run her on my team because I kind of dropped Shinobu because now that you need to learn an anchor character, I didn't want to play Shinobu. She's just not my playstyle. But Nezuko thrives in like punishing approaches and then getting as much damage as she can get, whether that's pressured by your opponent's assist gauge or whatnot. She's a really solid character and pretty much the best anchor character you can put on a team, honestly. Last but certainly not least, we have Zenitsu. Zenitsu is the top of the top of Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles. The creme de la creme. He does everything and more. His combos are fast, flashy, work really well, easy to start, do the most damage in the game. His neutral's really good. Thunderclap and Flash is broken. I don't like using this word a lot, but I will say it. He can spam it in neutral and pretty much get away with it for free. His recovery on his heavy attack is busted. His heavy attack itself is busted. His grab recovery is busted. Everything about this character is built to be a top tier, which is extremely strange because it takes a while to practice him. It takes a while to get to the point where he can be top tier for any given player, and that's why early on in the meta he was low tier, because not a lot of people knew what you could do with him, and now that you do, it's leagues above what anybody else can do. Mix that with, say it's game 2, you have a boost bar, maybe you have 2. Oh, what's that? You used all of your bars, getting them 50 damage. Activate boost. You have all those bars back. All your resources are back, and even more pressure to put on them. He's even more of a pressure monster than Shinobu ever was, but he's also really good in every other way. I struggle to find a weakness that's purely with Zenitsu alone and not a Zenitsu player himself or herself. Putting Zenitsu firmly in my top place for Demon Slayer. But if the video interests you, consider joining my Discord, where I'll host tournaments as often as I can for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC if I can, with enough players. Hopefully we can get there. Also, if you'd like, here's that matchup chart again. Feel free to take a screenshot, do whatever you want. This one is also in my Discord, as well as this tier list here. With that being said, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I wish you all a very good day.